The Columbus City Council meeting for March 21st, 2022 will now come to order. In compliance with the Open Meeting Act, Nebraska Revised Statute 84-1407, a current copy of this act is posted in the meeting room. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Bulkley.
Here.
Augustine Schulte.
Here.
Barr.
Here.
Hemer.
Here.
Jablonski.
Here.
Creashaw.
Here.
Lohr.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Schilling.
Here.
Mayor Bulkley, the roll has been called.
Thank you. Mrs. Council President.
Our Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve our fellow citizens. Please give us your wisdom and guidance to make the proper decisions entrusted to this governmental body. May our conduct show respect, honor, and courtesy to each other, as well as to all our citizens. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, say when you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. If at any time during our meeting anyone in our audience would like to get up and address anything on our agenda, we'd ask you come forward, give your name, address, and we'd ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Item 4, consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a City Council member or a citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent status and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 4A, minutes of the March 7th, 2022 City Council meeting. Item 4B, resolution number R22-28, approving commercial operator agreement with Best Air LLC at the Columbus Municipal Airport. The Columbus Board of Airport Commissioners recommends approval. Item 4C, resolution number R22-29, approving the agreement with American Legion Hartman Post 84 for use of Pawnee Park baseball facilities. Item 4D, resolution number R22-30, approving the agreement with Columbus Mariners Baseball League for use of Bernie Square baseball facilities. Item 4E, resolution number R22-31, approving the agreement with Wilderness Park Operations Committee for the use of Wilderness Park soccer facilities. Item 4F, resolution number R22-32, approving the permanent fiber optic easement agreement with Brent A. and Carmen Mellinger. Item 4G, resolution number R22-33, authorizing payment of various improvement projects. Item 4H, Finance Department reports. And item 4I, payroll and bills on file. Mr. Mayor and councilors, is there anything you would like to remove from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the items on the consent agenda be approved as presented.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
I voted twice. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well.
Okay, I'll vote again. Huh? I voted twice.
I think think we all do.
Just save that one for me.
We won't have to vote next meeting then.
Yeah. Didn't like either one of them.
How about 3 times? One time with a, there we go.
There it is.
Yeah, it'll probably show up 3 times.
Motion passes. Brings us up to a special proclamation we have this evening. It's kind of, timing is sometimes thought about is everything. And I think when you, if most of you were like I was this weekend, we were watching basketball games, we were watching the March Madness begin. We also are privileged to have coming to our town a facility that is in the gaming business, and I think one of the things that Caesars is extremely finds extremely important is to be aware of problem gambling. And that being said, the month of March is recognized as a month for problem gambling. With that in mind, I'd like to read a proclamation and afterwards invite A.J. Baker with Caesars to come forward and make any comments that he'd like to make. A proclamation, whereas our community is home to individuals and families adversely affected by problem gambling, and whereas compulsive gambling is often hidden from family members, social services, and mental health professionals, and whereas compulsive gambling often occurs in combination with other disorders such as chemical dependency and depression, and whereas it is important to raise awareness of the warning signs of compulsive gamblers and connect them with professional help. Now, therefore, I, James B. Bulkley, Mayor of Columbus, Nebraska, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2022 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month and urge citizens to learn more about the consequences of problem gambling. That being said, I would ask A.J. Baker if he'd like to come forward. I would present him with this proclamation, and you're welcome to make any comments that you feel.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Really won't take much of your time, but I want to say thank you. And first, I'll say just a moment about the company. In regards to this and any other issue, we operate under what's called a code of commitment, and that is a commitment to employees, a commitment to our communities in which we operate, and a commitment to our customers. And so this falls right in line with particularly customers that may end up having a problem. And it's something that we have recognized. We've been a leader in this field since the inception. It was really started when our company was Harrah's. We were the first company that designated funding and took all of our advertisements and made sure they designated attention to where you could get help if you have problems. So that is only to say thank you. We look forward to being a partner with your community, and thanks a lot for the proclamation recognizing March as Problem Gambling Month.
Question. How much money annually do you give to this program?
I wouldn't be able to answer. It's different in every state.
That's pretty lame.
It's different in every state, and
Pretty lame.
well, I don't. I'm the government relations guy. We have a whole segment that deals with the problem gambling, and I'm happy to get that figure for you.
Well, I wish you would have brought it because it would have made a lot more sense, because a couple agenda items here, we're going to be talking about a casino coming to town. Mm-hmm. On one hand, we're talking about problem gambling. On the other hand, we're bringing a casino here with expectations of the city, giving them some benefits. And you don't have a number that you can tell me that you put back into this program.
I don't have that with me. I'm happy to get that for you. It's different in every state, and I would have to compile them. It's not. I'm here because I can get here, and we think it's important enough to send somebody, but I'm not the person that's in charge
In America,
of it.
can we do this? Only in America. Only in America can we recognize problem gambling and then build a casino in the same breath. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Appreciate you coming forward. We'll move on to public hearings.
Item 7A, public hearing, application of Granville Custom Homes Incorporated and Paul and Benita Raymakers to rezone property located south of 68th Street and 56th Avenue Place from RR Rural Residential District to R1 Single Family Residential District and amend the future land use map of the comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Is there anyone here that wants to speak against this public hearing? anyone here want to speak for this public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, I'm
Mr.
move
Ray.
the public hearing.
I was going to say, Mr. Raymaker's walking back and forth. Is he part of this public hearing? Are we wanting to wait a minute, Mr. Bogus? Thank you.
Stephen Romikers, Granville Custom Homes, 4514 Howard Boulevard, Columbus. The rezoning that we're asking for is from ag to R1. We are completing the second phase of West Elks. We've posted notice of rezoning, but I forgot to bring in a affidavit that states that. So instead of continuing this, I would just ask that the motion be made to approve, if that's what you decide, the rezoning, subject to me bringing in the signed affidavit of posting a sign out at the field.
I would put that question to our legal, if that is something that can be done.
I think that's fine, if you want to make that, with that contingency on there.
Then that would be up to the council, Stephen, if the council would like to make a motion with that contingency.
This is just the hearing though, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's the next,
Well, it'd be at the the next section. So,
So just to be clear, there's a sign out there that's like a 4x8 that gives notice of the hearing dates for the rezoning, but then I'm supposed to bring in an affidavit that says I actually put that out there. I brought it in for the planning commission, but I forgot to bring it in tonight. But I can have it by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And I will attest that it is out there on the record.
close the hearing.
I move that the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Oh, with the contingency that the affidavit be
Well,
brought in.
we don't have to do that till we come.
We don't have to do
That's-
that
yep,
next.
you're-
Okay,
oh,
gotcha.
We're good. Hearing. Close.
Wanted to make sure I did it right.
Have a motion and a second to close. Any discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7A1, ordinance number 22-04, approving the rezoning.
not me?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, it's not showing up. Mr. Mayor, the rules be suspended and ordinance number 22-04 be read by number only.
Contingency? We need
No,
Second.
just the suspension.
Okay.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance number 22-04.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 22-04.
Second.
Where you'd make a contingent.
And we need the contingency on this.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 22-04 with the contingency that the affidavit be presented in the near future, I guess. I don't know.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's what he said.
Don't want to hold him to that. I mean, we
Tomorrow
missed
morning.
this deadline.
Tomorrow
It's
morning.
a lot of
Said
pressure.
he could do it.
A lot of pressure, Stephen.
We have a motion and a second. All those, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7B, public hearing, application of Convergence LLC for final plat and development agreement of Wishbones Addition. This is northeast of the intersection of Highway 81 and 63rd Avenue. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7B1, public hearing, determine whether Wishbone's addition should be included within the corporate city limits. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Have to ask.
For the record, you should ask if there's any.
Anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to close the hearing. Any discussion? Everyone vote, please. Motion passes.
Item 7B2, resolution number R22-34, approving the final plat development agreement and bringing said addition into the corporate city limits.
Mr. Mayor, move that resolution number R22-34 be adopted.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7C, public hearing, application of Convergence LLC to rezone property located in the northeast of intersection of Highway 81 and 63rd Avenue from RR Rural Residential District to B2 General Commercial District and amend the future land use map of the comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 7C1, ordinance number 22-05, approving the rezoning.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance 22-05.
Suspend the rules.
Need to suspend the rules.
Well, I don't have that on my notes here, but I would move to suspend the rules. You got it?
Yep, right here.
Okay. To suspend the rules and ordinance number 22-05 be read by number only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance number 22-05.
Now, I would move for approval of ordinance number 22-05.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to new business.
Item 13A, appointment of Harley Eichmeyer as firefighter, EMT, and hazmat technician.
Council members, the mayor would like, with your permission, to submit the name of Harley Eichmeyer for conditional appointment to the position of firefighter, EMT, hazmat tech, subject to successful completion of all pre-employment requirements. Per council rules, the 2-week waiting period is waived for an appointment of paid firefighter. Mr. Eichmeyer was certified for firefighter EMT hazmat tech by the Civil Service Commission at their meeting held February 22nd, 2022. Harley Eichmeyer is a graduate of David City Public High School. He has taken coursework at Metropolitan Community College in Omaha, Nebraska, and at Central Community College in Columbus, Nebraska. He holds certification as Firefighter 1, EMT, and Hazmat. Mr. Eichmeyer has been a volunteer firefighter, EMT, for the Bellwood Volunteer Fire Department since 2018. He is currently employed as a farm and ranch hand for HKO Land and Cattle in David City, Nebraska. We need an approval for a motion to approve the mayor's appointment, please.
I move for the appointment of Harley Eichmeyer as a firefighter.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. We've got Harley and I think a couple other appointments in the audience. Would you like to get up and say a word, or maybe we'll wait till the end? Do you want to just wait, Harley, and we'll have all three of you get up at once and introduce yourselves? All right.
Item 13B, appointment of Broderick Heft as firefighter, EMT, and hazmat technician.
Council members, the mayor would like, with your permission, to submit the name of Broderick Heft for conditional appointment to the position of firefighter, EMT, hazmat tech, subject to successful completion of all pre-employment requirements. Per council rules, the 2-week waiting period is waived for an appointment of paid firefighter. Mr. Heft was certified for firefighter, EMT, hazmat tech by the Civil Service Commission at their meeting held February 22nd, 2022. Broderick Heft is a graduate of David City High School. He completed coursework in criminal justice at Southeast Community College in Lincoln, Nebraska. He holds certification as EMR, EMT-B, CPR, and Ice Rescue and Swift Water Level 1 and 2. Mr. Heft has been a volunteer firefighter, EMT, for the David City Volunteer Fire Department since 2014, where he also serves as fire captain. He is currently employed as a water operator 1 for the David City Water Department. Gentlemen, we need a recommendation or a
Move that
motion.
the mayor's appointment be ratified.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to ratify. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Again, Broderick will ask you to step up in a minute, okay?
Item 13C, appointment of Patrick Shimmick as a firefighter, EMT, and hazmat technician.
Council members, with your permission, the mayor would like to submit the name of Patrick Shimmick for conditional appointment to the position of firefighter, EMT, hazmat tech, subject to successful completion of all pre-employment requirements. Per council rules, the 2-week waiting period is waived for an appointment of paid firefighter. Mr. Shimmick was certified for firefighter, EMT, hazmat tech by the Civil Service Commission at their meeting held February 22nd, 2022. Patrick Shimmick is a graduate of Columbus High School. He earned his bachelor's degree in agriculture and industrial technology education from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and continued on to earn his master's degree in career and technical education from Ball State University. He holds certification as firefighter 1 and 2, hazmat operations, instructor 1, fire officer 1, NREMT, Nebraska EMT, and EVDT. Mr. Shimmick has been a volunteer firefighter EMT for the Duncan Rural Volunteer Fire Department since 2016, where he also serves as training officer and secretary. He also has been a volunteer firefighter EMT for the Columbus Volunteer Fire Department since 2019, serving as lieutenant and secretary. Patrick is currently employed as a teacher for the High Plains Community Schools in Polk, Nebraska. Gentlemen, we need a motion for this appointment, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move the appointment of Patrick Shimmick as firefighter, EMT, hazmat tech be ratified.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now we'd ask you three gentlemen to come forward so we can welcome you to Columbus.
I guess I'll start since I'm first up. Thank you for the opportunity to serve the city of Columbus and the residents and taxpayers within the city.
Pat, you are, just let everybody know.
Yeah, sorry, I'm Patrick Shimmick. Sorry. Thank you.
I'm Broderick Heft. I just want to say I'm really excited to work for Columbus and, yeah, super excited to work for you guys, so.
Harley Eichmeyer, I'm also really excited to start in this department, and I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to serve this community.
Well, obviously,
all.
we're very we're welcoming you here. We're excited about having you. Acting Chief, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Kyle Langenfelter, interim fire chief right now for about another week. All right, I am beyond joyed that we are able to hire these three individuals. When we interviewed them in the fire chief interviews, I was blown away. We had to wait to hire one of these individuals until he was old enough to get hired onto the fire department. And this, and all of these individuals showed tremendous talent. They got a lot of certification, they got a lot of training, got a lot of education already. It's not like we had to look very hard and find some really qualified individuals. We were really grateful. We were really excited to see how many people applied and to see the applicants that we had. Not only am I excited that we're able to hire these individuals, but we're not replacing ones that retired, we're replacing ones that left to go Lincoln or Omaha. We're adding additional firefighters to the Columbus Fire Department force, and that makes me very excited so that we can grow to the future. Like what we're discussing tonight is a casino on the western edge of town at Wishbones. We're going to be busy there. We're going to be responding to fire calls. We're going to be responding to medical instances at that facility. We're going to respond to fire calls. We're going to be busy. And so as Columbus grows, we need to grow too. And so this is just moving a step in the right direction. And we moved a step in the right direction by hiring a full-time fire chief and full-time assistant chief a couple of weeks ago, and we're keep on moving in the right direction. So I'm beyond excited.
Thanks, Kyle.
Awesome, Kyle. I'd like to hope that with the expansion of the western part of Columbus and the casino, we're not out there fighting fires at a new facility.
No.
But if we're busy, you may be making rescue calls and other things to that general area as we grow. So I think that's
as
what
long
you,
as we keep on
meant.
getting this moisture, I don't think we have to
That
worry
good
about
point.
fires. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good point.
All right.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks.
Curiosity, where does that put us for staffing? Are we fully
Right
staffed
now, we are at 6 per shift. We will be as after this appointments, and then that will bring us up to 18 personnel total, with plus the 2 administrative personnel.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'd just like to publicly thank you for stepping up and taking the interim position and getting us to the next level. And I know it can't be easy not knowing day to day what was happening, but as a city and community, I think it was pretty seamless. We appreciate it. Thank you for your efforts.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And
I've got a question yet too.
Yeah.
Will we be hiring some more firemen when we man the Lewis station? out east?
Eventually, we're going to be taking the steps there. We need to find some funding first, and we would love to add additional personnel. We'd love to add 3 more per shift. But we need to find some funding first. So there's some opportunities out there, some channels that we can investigate to see if we can get that funding to make transition a lot easier. There's also SAFER grants. So SAFER grants will be able to pay for staffing for a 3-4 year period, which is great, but we still need to make sure that after that 3-4 year period ends, that we have that funding available to still continue that staffing.
Also, during that time, whether we have the need to have that many more people too. Part of the program.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Kyle.
All right.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Gentlemen that are joining us, thank you.
That brings us to item 13D, application of Ferguson Properties Incorporated for preliminary plat of Centennial Park 8th Edition. That's west of 3rd Avenue and 2nd Street. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
I'm assuming somebody has this.
No, it's gonna be. Mr. Mayor, I move that the preliminary plat of Centennial Park 8th Edition be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13E, application of Ferguson Properties Incorporated for preliminary plat of Park Place 10th Edition, west of 48th Avenue and 43rd Street. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Shouldn't that be east of 48th Avenue?
Yep. East of 48th Avenue.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the preliminary plat of Park Place 10th Edition be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the preliminary plat of Park Place 10th Edition east of 48th Avenue and 43rd Street. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13F, application of Granville Custom Homes LLC for preliminary plat of West Elk's second subdivision south of 68th Street and 56th Avenue Place, and request for waiver of subdivision regulations for length of cul-de-sac. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the preliminary plat of West Elk's second subdivision and request for waiver of subdivision regulations be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13G, application of Friedhof Room at Schweizer's for a special designated license in an outdoor area on 27th Avenue from 13th Street to the alley between 12th Street and 13th Street from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m., April 30th, 2022, with an alternate date of September 24th, 2022 for a street festival.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of the application of Friedhof Room for a special designated license for April 30th, 22, and alternate date of September 24th, 2022. Be approved.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, I think it's important to see that this is one of those that, you know, people are trying to create excitement and buzz downtown. I think it's great we're approving this. Hope for great weather on April 30th. If not, I guess we go for good weather on September 24th. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13H, review of county industrial tracts.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the city staff be authorized to request Platte County to consider industrial tract designations for review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I would ask City Administrator just give a brief update.
Sure. There are, state statute allows that industrial tracts can be designated. There are 14 industrial tract areas within the City of Columbus's jurisdiction that Platte County has designated in order for a property to maintain industrial tract status. They have to meet the definition of an industrial user. And every even numbered year in March, cities can request that properties be reviewed that we believe do not meet the definition of the industrial tract designation. Obviously, the benefit of tracts being in an industrial area is they do not pay city sales tax and they do not pay city property tax. So it's an incentive for an industrial user, but there's quite a few parcels within those areas that are serving retail, serving the general public, commercial businesses that do not meet the definition of industrial as defined by the state statute.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
Will that be brought to our attention later as far as whom those people
Who they
are?
remove?
Yeah.
I can definitely give you an update on that. It's likely that they'll set a hearing for all of them in late June or July even. That's what it was in the last time we challenged it.
I think it'd be nice if we, as council, would know what those are.
Last time we did it was 2018, and we brought forward about 14, and they removed 2.
Okay.
There has been there are some changes pending in this season's legislature that would make some of the reasons to advocate these and get them out of industrial tracts probably easier or cleaner, I would say. So that would be something that would be part of what this is come June or July when they're looked at.
Okay.
Are these tracts paying their fair share of police protection, fire protection, other city services that we provide, or
So The city doesn't provide police protection to industrial tracks, the county does. We do provide fire protection. If you recall, within the last 12 to 18 months, we did a fire fee for all industrial tracks. Previously, only one of those areas was paying a fire fee. They pay out of city limit rates for water and sewer, which those are about double what an in city limits property pays. So they are paying for their fair share of those sorts of things. Now, the issue is whether they meet the industrial definition, because they are not paying property taxes. So for some of these businesses, by the time their water and sewer rates change, and then they have to pay property tax and sales tax, it's probably a bit of a wash. But it's really a matter of following state law, right? There's a lot of tracks in these areas that are operating businesses that are very similar to businesses right in the area that are in city limits and paying city sales tax and paying city property tax. So it's really a matter of equity.
Of those 14, how many have paid their fire fees? All of them?
We're just billing. So when we,
Just billing.
yes, when we brought that forward just over a year ago, if you remember, we gave them a year leeway and said this is what it will be in a year. So in March this month, we're just billing for the first time.
Great.
So it's a work in progress, and it's something you can look into every 2 years. That's the way it's set up, so. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13I, plan specifications, estimate of cost in the amount of $150,000 and authorization to advertise for bids for the sanitary sewer rehabilitation 2022. Plans and specifications are on file in the engineering department.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the plans, specifications, estimate of cost, and authorization to advertise for bids for sanitary sewer rehabilitation 2022 be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13J, plans, specifications, estimate of cost in the amount of $278,000 for base bid and combined additional amount of $260,000 for 4 additional facilities, and authorization to advertise for bids for fiber optic South Ring and community building relocation project. The plans and specifications are on file in the engineering department.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the plans, specifications, estimated of cost, and authorization to advertise for bids for fiber optic South Ring and community building relocation project be approved.
Second.
Charlie?
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Charlie.
This comes to $538,000. It's supposed to be paid out of CIP 1909. 2 items away, we have another reserve bill that's going to come up for, let me look here, $114,000. So all of a sudden, our $600,000 is up to $652,000.
Correct.
How do we stretch that?
Correct. Well, there are a number of CIP projects supported by the general fund that are not going to get spent. So that's why I approve these coming forward. So for example, 23rd Street for this paving project, we have about 2.4, 2.8, something like that in the budget this year, and we're not even going to probably get $1 million spent of that. So we're going to be way under on capital expenses this fiscal year.
Good. Very good. That's all I wanted.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13K, plan specifications, estimate of cost in the amount of $80,000 for authorization to advertise for bids for armor coating surfacing improvements of 2022. The plans and specs are on file in the engineering department.
Mr. Mayor, I move the plan specifications, estimate cost, and authorization to advertise for bids for armor coat surfacing improvements 2022 be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13L, plan specifications estimate of cost in the amount of $179,700 for authorization to advertise for bids for the Quail Run Golf Course Lake Rehabilitation 2022. The plans and specs are on file in the engineering department.
Mr. Mayor, move that the plan specification, estimate, cost, and authorization to advertise for bids for Quail Run Golf Course Lake Rehabilitation for 2022.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is any of this covered by FEMA?
Yes, so about 9 months ago, or 12 months ago, I requested a project scope change with FEMA with this, and also replacing all of the sprinkler heads because the sand in the lake is getting sucked through the irrigation system and damaging the sprinkler heads. They approved the lake dredging because the sediment in the lake is from the flood, but they did not approve the sprinkler heads, so we'll have to just replace those as budget allows.
Okay.
But yes, this will be funded 75% by FEMA.
And if I remember right, didn't we have this in front of us, and there was some issues with how it was presented, and a business that wanted to quote it didn't feel he had a chance, so we kind of tabled it and sent it back, and this is just following up with that also?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is the
Thought
same
so.
thing.
All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 13M, quote from Mid-States Data Transport LLC doing business as Stealth Broadband in the amount of $114,047.22 for fiber optic ducts for the South Fiber Optic Project.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the quote from Stealth Broadband for fiber optic ducts be accepted.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 13N, authorization to advertise city land for sale located east of 35th Avenue, north of 25th Street.
Mr. Mayor, I move the authorization to advertise for city land for sale be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 13O, comments from the mayor and city council members. In compliance with Open Meetings Act, no discussion may be held on this item.
Any comments from council members this evening? I only have one comment as a mayor, and of course this is an area where we can't have discussion, but I did receive a note during the meeting so I can answer a question that was presented. Harrah's or Caesars dedicates 2.5% of gross revenues to problem gambling. So at this,
It doesn't answer the question.
I said we can't have any discussion.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, we move on to resolutions.
Item 14A, resolution number R22-35, approving the agreement with Sand Creek Construction Company in the amount of $19,800 for design phase services for the Pawnee Plunge Family Slide.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of resolution R22-35.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number R22-35. Any discussion?
This is for design only.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 15A, ordinance number 22-06, amending the pay plan by adding the chief building inspector to grade C3, project engineer to grade C4, and volunteer fire captains for fire and EMS to other positions, and removing the assistant fire chief and the volunteer assistant fire chief and fire training and safety officer from other positions.
This is an ordinance on its first reading, so no,
No, we're suspending the rules.
oh, we are
Mr.
suspending.
Mayor, I move the rules be suspended and ordinance number 22-06 be read by number only.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance number 22-06.
Mr. Mayor, I move ordinance number 22-06 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 22-06. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 15B, ordinance number 22-07, amending section 90.040 of E of Chapter 90 of Title 9 of the Columbus City Code to allow residential properties to have no more than 3 dogs or 4 cats or a total of 6 pets over 4 months of age. This is the first reading. No motion is necessary.
Any discussion? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.